spirits
Yeah.
when you sing, and you're singing beautifully today.
I'm singing for you, buddy.
Thank you. What are you singing for me today? Do you have a specific song, or you just singing?
Here I come to save the day.
You're here to save the day.
Mighty
Hello,
Dean is
Dean.
on the way.
Dean Blundell is live. I'm Zev Shalev. This is the Five Stack. A little late, and I apologize for that. It's always my fault. It's never Dean's.
Did you sucker me into singing for the people? Because I didn't even know we were live.
Did. Well, I do like you singing. I do like it. I think it cheers everybody up on an otherwise dreary kind of news day. It's nice to hear you sing.
Oh, guys, welcome. Hi. You want me to sing you a song? Here I come to save the day. Mighty Dean is on the way. Yeah,
Is that
what a
what you
day.
sing every
Nice.
day in your head? Is that what's really going on in your head? Here I am
No.
to save the day. Are we actually live? I'm sure you think we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll check in just a second. We do this dance every single time we go live.
Technology is not foolproof, as it turns out, in the world. And so, this is still a brand new world that we live in.
Not for a couple of middle-aged snacks, it's not.
Yes, and Substack is Substack. It's still a new technology, but we are live. It says live, so
really fucking live. I'm looking at us right now. God, we look good. I look a little red in the face. You look good. You look like your new setup there. Look at that, everybody. You got to go to Zev Shalev's narrative.org. Check him out. He does about 43 Substack lives a day now. And last night's Substack, well, dude, I did 2 yesterday. You did like 4.
Yeah, no, I did
like 6.
2 or 3 yesterday. I don't know. One of them was very complicated. You know, and handling just one of you is a lot. But when you have like a panel of 6 people, it's amazing because we have the most incredible guests and the most incredible panelists. But it is a lot of technology and things, and you got to get things right. You don't embarrass yourself in front of that crowd.
No, dude, you make everybody's dreams come true with your Substack lives. I was watching you with Kate Justice, who, by the way, we got to have her on this show.
Yeah,
she is fucking awesome. Ellie, who's probably going to be one of my all-time favorites for the rest of my life. She's just this humble little power pack of fucking research, and she's so authentic. She's good. Lev, you know Lev, he's our boy. He's my boy. He's like my guy. Yeah. And Waj, who, like, my God, is there a sharper commentator on the planet right now?
He's so quick. From the left He's just so quick. He gets information so quickly. He processes it so quickly. He knows what's news. He's got a good handle on it all. And he is so willing to do these shows, which is so great because I think he even beats you in the amount of hours a day of like live broadcasting that he does. I think I once saw him on for 6 hours straight, which is a lot.
Yeah. So I don't have the attention span to do that. Like I start to gloss over after 60, right? Give me 60 minutes. Doesn't matter the subject. I'm just being honest with people. So when I see people that have the stick-to-itiveness to do like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, like I really I've got ADHD. I'm one of those guys.
Me too.
Like, you know, I'm that guy that leaves his, like I left my passport on 2 planes when I was away in Greenland and Denmark and people chasing me after me with my bag. I'm like, on to the next. But to your point, Waj is prolific. And you know, the thing about Waj is it's not like he recycles information.
No.
I'm watching you guys last night today. Everybody go to Narrative. You can see this incredible panel about Katie Johnson that you guys did yesterday. It was truly amazing. And then you covered some of the other more egregious stories, like the 2 bodies at Zorro Ranch and, of course, the 19th whole body allegation when it comes to Trump murdering. I mean, we're there. Trump murdering victims of the Epstein file. Epstein file, sex trafficking, and pedophile.
By the way, that story actually hit the mainstream.
Oh, was it?
You know, it was the same story that we ran 2 days ago, but it's I'm glad it's there. I'm glad we were able to get it into the zeitgeist and finally into a newspaper. It's the biggest newspaper in the world, actually, the Daily Mail. But it's still not on any TV networks or anything like that. You know, and this is allegations that the president had someone buried on his golf course during his sex. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a big story.
And dude, and that story connects to the Sinaloa cartel, right? Mm-hmm. You and I had a chat about that yesterday. Go and watch yesterday's FIVESTACK. Who has he been pardoning and bringing in under witness protection? The entire Sinaloa cartel. So it's almost like he's literally collecting everybody that's got as much to lose as him when it comes to the Epstein files. Everybody, and giving him cabinet positions, letting him out of fucking jail, doing business with the oligarchs. So we'll get to a lot of that today, I imagine, here in the FIVESTACK. And I'm sure we're going to cover more than one story today because it's just the litany and the issues of the day, right? We got to get to more than one.
And people were
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
yesterday that the five stack we did yesterday was also really eye opening. And it was. I thought yesterday was one of our better shows because it was just really great to get your perspective on your return from Greenland and from Denmark, and then also covering the Epstein Zorro Ranch stuff. I think there's a lot of eyes now turned back into the Epstein crimes and what really went on there. There's also this breaking news today about Savannah Guthrie's mother. This is a story which I was actually trying to avoid this story because I feel so much for the people on the Today Show. I've worked on one of those network morning shows. It is intense experience, and Savannah
Mhm.
Guthrie is the best that there is in this game. She's obviously been targeted because of who she is, and what's going on there is kind of frightening to the point where it's not just one of these salacious celebrity stories. There really is a whole other angle to it, which is all about the cartels, about it being a border crime as well. And we'll get into all of that in just a second. Let me give you the latest. As you know, this is now day 5. There's no suspects that are publicly known, no persons of interest that have been named publicly. There was no real forced entry that we could tell or that the police could tell. But the 84-year-old woman, Nancy Guthrie, the mother of America's most watched morning anchor, I mean, really, the Today Show still has that very important place in American family life. She was taken from her home in Catalina Foothills in Arizona. This is happened in the middle of the night, according to the latest police update. There were ransom notes demanding millions in bitcoins. They were sent to TMZ, KGUN, and KOLD. That deadline is in 2 hours. Well, it's probably a little later than that because it's probably 5 p.m. Arizona time.
Mhm.
But 5 p.m.
Mhm.
is the deadline that they gave for the first handover of money. If that doesn't happen, they expect the money on Monday. There are brand new details about what happened, and I'll just throw up a quick graphic so you can see what the police were able to share with everybody just a short while ago. They said that on January the 31st, the family dropped Nancy off at her home at 9:48 p.m. The garage door was closed at 9:50 p.m. Then just after midnight, even as late as at 1:47 a.m. on February the 1st, the doorbell camera mysteriously disconnects. So that camera is missing, according to the police. It hasn't been smashed, not ripped off the wall, just missing. And it's also been digitally disconnected. And at 2:12, the camera software that was detecting a person because they had some sort of software that could detect motion, I guess, but there's no video. So someone with some sort of insight into how their camera setup was able to disconnect the camera. There is no cloud subscription to this content. So as many of us have those cameras in our home, some of them just record over and over again on what a recording device they have in those cameras. They don't always upload to the cloud. In this case, they did not have a cloud subscription, so we did not know exactly the other movements that may have happened. And by
Mhm.
2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker app is showing she's disconnected from her phone. There's blood on the doorstep. That's very concerning, of course. Her phone, wallet, and car was left behind. And
And I believe the DNA matched the blood on the doorstep to Nancy Guthrie, if I'm not mistaken.
correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, they reach out to her at 11:56 a.m. That's nearly 10 hours after the event. And of course, she's gone. The 12:03, the police is called. This is not a smash and grab. You can pretty much say this is a professional hit of some sort. Now, was it someone in her family? Is someone speculating? It could be. But it's equally notable that this is taking place where it's taking place, which is just 60 miles from the border. The border is a big issue in America. The cartels that have been quite in control of that border for some time are being disrupted to some extent by
Mhm.
the military and what Donald Trump is doing for various reasons. I mean, you might say he's doing it for nefarious reasons, but he's certainly doing, that's no longer the same border that it was. And the reason I'll raise the cartel thing, and I think it is a real issue here, is the only time that I can think of, and I've done a lot of research around this, where something like this has happened. It was in the 1990s, and it involved the Medellin cartel of Pablo Escobar when they kidnapped a prominent Colombian TV journalist. Um,
Mhm.
that is the time that we are able to. That's the only time, and it's of course happened where else? It's happened in Russia a lot, where you've had prominent people kidnapped for large amounts of money. But generally speaking, it's not really an American story. This kind of thing doesn't tend to happen in America.
Well said. Great timeline. I have questions.
Mhm.
And if you've been following the Savannah Guthrie thing, and just so you see at the bottom, she's supposed to host the opening ceremony for the Winter Olympics. She's not doing that. Her and her family sat on a couch the other day and they pled for the return of their mother. And authorities do believe that she is still alive. So, there's some, I guess, good news in a very, very terrible story for
Yeah.
the Guthrie family and all involved, which is fascinating. But I don't like conspiracy theories.
Mhm.
But to your point, you take geography into account. There's Savannah and her mom right there. What a pretty lady.
Mhm.
And you take geography into account. You take the current atmosphere of the anti-immigrant, anti-legal migrant the war on the cartels, everything and all the rhetoric of the Trump regime into account. And then you take their sagging polling numbers, everything else into account. And then you take in his partnership with the Sinaloa cartel. That is a real fucking thing. We are going to bear that out into account. You take his pardon of Hernandez, who is a Sinaloa kingpin, and the transfer and the not just transfer, but the relocation of the entire Sinaloa cartel family into the United States this past year quietly. Not a lot of people talk about it. Nobody actually talks
Do you
about
want
it.
to talk about it a little bit more? Because I don't think people
Yeah.
realize what actually happened there. Trump basically allowed the Sinaloa cartel leadership into America, to supposedly face charges, but he still had them all come here.
Yeah.
So talk about how that happened
And they
and
all
the
have immunity agreements, and they all have agreements to go and relocate around the United States. But nobody knows where they are. No one knows if they're in witness relocation. But Donald Trump greenlit, signed off on bringing El Chapo's whole family here. Everybody involved in the Sinaloa cartel family that's connected to El Chapo. If you remember, the son of El Chapo, he ran some kind of interference campaign where they just brought the uncle into town, and then everybody involved got immunity, and everybody involved in the Sinaloa cartel, with the exception of some real bad guys. They're literally living in the United States, and they are beholden to Donald Trump. Let me also point out the blowing up of fishing boats, which may or may not. We've talked about this several times. May or may not have been competing cartel members under the auspices that Donald Trump was going to clean up the drug trafficking that comes into the United States. Donald Trump has dealt with cartels, international mobs, washing money for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of months. Like, this guy's been doing it for 30 years.
it's
It's
his
not just
life. I
Russia.
mean,
It's his life.
it's how he
Yeah.
makes money is through the mob, and that's always
And
been his thing.
and then if you read the Epstein files this week, it's like all these little puzzle pieces start to come in and make more sense, right? Everything around Trump makes more sense. His coordinated effort to corner the market with criminal enterprise, whether it be Bitcoin, crypto, or the drug trade. Well, what did Putin do when he rose to power? He did all that business with all the worst people, and he got all the drug dealers on side. Now he's the number one drug dealer in the world. You can say the same thing about G with fentanyl and the underground drug trade from China into the rest of the world. It's really important for dictators to control the underground and the above ground, if you know what I'm saying. They have to control everything up here and everything down there, and they work in unison, and it's all fucking illegal. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. That's what he did with the J6ers. That's what ICE is. It's just a whole bunch of fucking criminals and brown shirts. And if you understand history, you know the importance of having an army of people that are willing to work above ground and below ground. And if you look at what Hitler did, he went and found all the worst people. And you know what he did? He created something called the SA, the brown shirts. And then when he got control of the army, let me just point this out. Donald Trump's also doing the same thing. He said, okay, the SS controls the army. We're going to kill every leader in the SA on the night of Long Knives, which is what they did. And now he controlled everybody everywhere. And that's what Vladimir Putin has done as well. This is no different. So where does Guthrie's mom fit into this? I don't know. But I find it extremely interesting that there was a software disconnection, meaning digitally they got rid of her Ring doorbell and any surveillance at the front door.
It does seem like there was some sort of hack. Yeah.
Ahead of time, physically, they actually removed some hardware ahead of time from the front door,
Hmm.
and they're asking for crypto and Bitcoin. They're asking for the things that are most important to the Trump regime, the most important to every drug trafficking, international criminal ring in the world, which is Bitcoin and crypto, because you can't fucking trace it. So let me just insert another conversation I had with my friend Zev Shalev for our listeners today, who found this very interesting as well. What would play really well right now with the left, with progressives, with all Americans when it comes to the disappearance of Savannah Guthrie's mother?
I mean,
What
look,
do you think would play really well?
this is it's so difficult for me to even speculate about this kind of stuff because I know the people who are
We're
involved in
spitballing
this,
here.
and I know Savannah's real trauma is happening right now, and this is a real story that's happening to them in real time. And I am so the narrative is too perfectly structured in some ways to do exactly what Donald Trump needs right now, and in other ways.
Mhm.
Let me just say that I find it really unusual that he is so concerned about this so-called liberal journalist, this fake media person, who when that director was killed a few weeks ago, he was not very sympathetic because that guy was supportive of the Democratic Party. He's not been a very, very a touchy-feely kind of president. He's not been the kind of president who's gone out of his way to connect with people on an emotional level. But now on this story, no problem. On this story, he had a conversation with Savannah Guthrie. All federal law enforcement has been, given attention to this case. Kash Patel is personally overseeing this investigation, whatever that might mean. And the most striking thing is that the canine units of the Custom and Border Patrol. This is the same organization which last week killed an American, again, in cold blood, and the president didn't seem to care very much about Alex Petrie, but he does seem to care a lot about Savannah's mother,
Savannah
as he
Guthrie.
should, yeah. And so I just find it all a little bit
Too cut and paste convenient.
convenient, and then I also look at the timing around the Epstein files and how much they need a distraction. And then I also think about where this happens in the world. And as I just pointed out, it happens in Colombia. The other two things I could find is that it happens in Russia. There were two instances in Russia. There was the abduction of the Kaspersky son of the famous antivirus Kaspersky software. In 2011, the 20-year-old son was kidnapped, snatched off a sidewalk on his way to work, held for 6 days. Ransom demanded, and the kidnappers got the idea from watching a TV segment. Now, this is happening in Russia where nothing happens unless Vladimir Putin says, you have to do it this way.
Go ahead.
The other time that this has happened is also in Russia. There's only other incident that I can find that we've had this kind of thing is there was Operation in 2009, Mikhail Stavsky Jr., the son of the Rosneft vice president. He was also kidnapped in Moscow. Ransom was $50 million euros. He was never found, by the way. But it does make you, this is not American. This is not an American story. We don't have these stories, really. These don't really happen here. So why now? How do these happen? The timing is just so, it couldn't be more better timed. So it was obviously a professional hit. It could have involved a cartel. It could have involved the mob. It could have involved this high-end hacking, as you're indicating with the digital disruption. I just have a lot of questions, and I mean, it doesn't change what's happening. I mean, her mother is still kidnapped, and she's in grave danger, and they are absolutely desperate to get her back. And I'm not, I don't think any of us know the full story, and none of us can say we know what's going on. And certainly the police aren't saying we know what's going on, but just the environment right now raises a lot of questions in my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And it's a touchy subject to talk about, right? You don't want to hang one on anybody if you don't, you're unsure. But to your point, the empathy that Donald Trump is showing for Savannah Guthrie's mother is unfucking heard of. when it
Yeah, he
comes
doesn't do
to
that.
Donald Trump's empathy. He doesn't do that. The resources that they're giving him, the public display of affection,
Yeah.
which he also doesn't do,
No.
reaching into the hearts and minds of people that love Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah.
And the sick part of this whole thing is, you pointed it out earlier, he's got no problem with the public execution of Alex Pretty and Renee Nicole Good. He's got no problem with that, right? Zero. But for some reason, like, he doesn't even talk about it, and if he does talk about it, it's like, well, they're just doing their job.
Oh, they're
Don't
domestic
worry about it. Just
terrorists.
make it
They were
weird. They're
domestic
domestic.
terrorists.
Well, yeah, we know that, but that's what he says.
Yeah.
And then if you think about what the really important aspects of the ransom note, you think about the professional hit here, you think about the anti-immigrant stuff that'll play with his white base. You think about all the other backstory, whether it came to the Sinaloa cartel and his partnership with them, who he knows, what he knows. He's a fucking mobster.
Mhm.
You cannot discount this as a possibility. You cannot. As a matter of fact, if you're looking at who benefits, who loses, if you're looking at patterns, and if you're looking, like, if you were a futurist, right, someone that had the ability to see patterns and money and numbers and be able to kind of predict what happened or look back and have a sense of probability as to who might be responsible, I think you put this narrative right up at the front of the fucking list with crazy ex-brother, someone else. Who the fuck wants to mess with Savannah Guthrie?
Yeah.
And who benefits from this?
Right. And the other thing,
if they can cook something up, which I'm watching Donald Trump do, and if he had nothing to do with it, and I'm not saying he did, but if this regime had nothing to do with this for any reason whatsoever, if they didn't have any, why do they stand to benefit the most from a positive resolution here? Because they put themselves at the front. They're literally bastardizing the Guthrie family grief right now for attention to look like they give a shit at the worst possible moment in Donald Trump's second term as the president of the United States of America.
yeah, it seems like opportunity. It doesn't like an opportunist moment. The other thing is, the border is really secure right now. They keep telling us how there's no crime in America, and how they've got all the border shut down completely, and they've got military stacked up there everywhere. How did this happen? Why this crime? I mean, why would anyone be so brazen enough to commit a crime like this when no other crime is taking place in that zone where they've basically declared it a military zone? And to me, there's just,
And can I ask you a question?
it's
Does the
more
Guthrie
terrifying
family
than
have hundreds of millions in crypto and Bitcoin lying around? I mean, you target people that have crypto. Like these, listen, crypto and Bitcoin kidnappings are actually very common.
Are
Oh, you
they?
don't know that, but they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It happens around the world. It happens in if you Google it, you'll be able to see a litany of threats and kidnappings for crypto, usually in third world countries. Threats. Send us crypto, or we're going to publish these naked pictures of you and your mistress. That kind of stuff. The Guthrie family, do they have a mint full of Bitcoin and crypto?
No, but she gets paid pretty well. I mean, she's
Yeah, but
probably $30 million a
yeah,
year contract or something like that.
maybe,
She's 30
but like,
million
why
probably.
would you? Well, dude, there are richer people to target for fucking crypto
Oh, yeah,
kidnappings.
you're doing
and more
this
important,
because she is who she
way
is.
more.
She's the
Yes.
sweetheart of America, right? I mean, this is what the Today Show
Yes.
anchor has always been. Before her, it was Katie
Yes.
Couric. Now,
Yes.
a lot less people watch morning TV than they used to, but still, 3 million people watch that show in the morning,
Mhm.
and that's a significant number of people in America because they help set the mood. But they're also talking to those Americans that are, in the core of the demographic that Donald Trump needs to win the next election. Moms in homes around America with the suburban lives, who are worried about their kids, who are worried about their safety, and who are seeing a president stand up for for Savannah's mom, and Savannah's
For
a sweetheart.
America's sweetheart's
Yeah,
mom.
yeah. I mean, that's just it's the exact story he needs to tell right now to recover from the absolutely horrific Epstein files, which implicate him in the rape and murder of underage girls, and this continuous stream of of rape that keeps coming out about him, and this this misogynism that happens with Donald Trump, and this complete disregard for the law that is the hallmark of Donald Trump. This is the thing that can distract America for a few days. And that doesn't make it any easier because her mom is still in trouble and her mom might not make it. And Savannah's family is going through an enormous amount of grief. And they now have to play this game too, I bet. I mean, they're probably making these calculations as well. And they're saying, well, we have to engage with Donald Trump on this. And we have to, do all the things we need to do, including probably pay off these kidnappers to the tunes of millions of dollars to get this back. And most of these stories, they sometimes don't end well. And if the mom is not well right now and was bleeding and she needs her medication, they really are running against the clock here to try and save her.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question before we move on to story number 5 or 4?
Yeah.
Maybe this is a bonus. I don't know.
That was,
but let me ask you
5.
Sorry.
Yeah. It was 5 and
That was
breaking
number
news at
5.
the same time. So number 4 is next.
That's a twofer, right? The best ideas are all twofers, 2 for ones. Let me ask you a question. Do you think for a second, because I think this is an important question a lot of people ask, if the Trump regime finds her, do you think that will play well with more than his base, knowing what we're opening up in the Epstein files, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Or do you think this is fait accompli?
I think that they're going to find her, and I think he's going to use this as much as possible to show that he's a good guy. And and Savannah and NBC will, in some ways.
Oh yeah, he'll, no matter what happens, if they find her and he had nothing to do with it, he will co-opt this as him.
Yeah, and look, MS now is the only real. I know they're separate companies now, but really it's still the same kind of people there. MS and NBC represent a big part of the country that is in that independent world, that is in the center of the left, that is not interested in that has been turning away from Donald Trump. A PR victory like this, where Donald Trump is reuniting, Savannah with her mother. Boy, that is gold for him. That is just gold in terms of narrative building, in terms of playing the electorate, in terms of winning. There's no one who wants to be associated with him right now because of the Epstein files, but they might be. They might be after, if Nancy Guthrie is found. Someone wanted me to put up this thing again, so I'm putting it up there. I don't know why they wanted me to, but they asked in the chat, so there's the list if everyone wants to see it. I don't know who it was.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, of course.
Have the FBI and federal law enforcement shut out local law enforcement like they did in Minneapolis?
It doesn't appear that they are shut out, but they certainly have different lanes. I mean, it was really interesting that the FBI were engaged with the family when they were recording this video, even though I'm sure that the ransom people were saying don't involve the FBI. So it's kind of contrary to what you'd expect for them to have the involvement of the FBI and for the FBI to be talking about the ransom note and all these things. That to me is, I think most kidnappers say, don't call the cops. Just leave us the money. They don't say call the cops and let's do a big show at 1 p.m. in front of the news media, which is what they did today. That's a little strange.
Well,
what do you think?
I find you know exactly what I think.
Yeah.
And I think everybody out there knows exactly what I think. And what I think doesn't matter. I think we should all be pining for the return of Miss Guthrie. But I think you cannot preclude any involvement from this regime. You cannot preclude it.
Yeah. It just terrible thing to think about that this is what's happening to America, but here we are. The number 4 story on the countdown is all about Jeffrey Epstein. The Epstein reckoning has picked up speed today. Brad Karp, the chairman of Paul Weiss, arguably the most powerful corporate law firm in America, resigned after newly released Epstein files revealed his email exchanges with the convicted sex trafficker. Now, this is good. It's good to finally see some heads roll. We also heard today, let me just change this out here, that Hillary and Bill Clinton are not only going to be testifying, Hillary wants to do this all out in the public. She's calling for a public testimony, which sounds like a good idea. Comer, the head of the investigation, is currently saying absolutely not, but we'll see. The other big...
Did he really?
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're not doing that, no.
We wanted him to testify, but only when we control how and when the media get to hear
only
what they
when we
say.
can launder what you said in a private hearing. That's the only reason where I got...
Uh,
You
uh,
know, go ahead.
the other thing is that Nancy Mace is saying that Bill Gates should be testifying, and they're
Yeah.
considering that. That's a good call. I mean, they should actually absolutely be testifying, as should Leon Black, as should Leslie Wexner, as should Jess Staley. Those people, Jamie Dimon, all those people should be getting in front of that committee. I don't know if we'll see them, but they should be.
As should that fat diaper fuck in the Oval Office.
Yeah, absolutely.
He needs to go and testify as well. His name's in it 38,000 times.
Crazy.
Yeah, this is yesterday, between yesterday and today, because I was gone for a bit and my head was somewhere else, and you get back here and you get into the Epstein files, and unfortunately spent the last 2 days reading the Epstein files. And not only are there people like Brad Karp who stepped down today who will suffer no consequences. Fucking guy needs to go to jail with the rest of them, right? He should be sitting in front of Congress and the Senate right now, especially like a Senate
we don't know if
oversight
he was
committee hearing.
involved with any sex things.
Well, he knows. Like, I mean,
we know
anybody.
that he got a role in his son in Woody Allen movie. I think that's what we know. But
yeah, but fuck, dude. Like, every one of these correspondents, and I want to draw your attention to something called the conviction date. Okay. Every one of the correspondence that Brad Karp had, every one of the correspondence that Michael Wolff had, every one of the correspondence that Leon Black had, every single disgusting, greasy prick that we're finding out is involved with Jeffrey Epstein had something to do with him after he was convicted.
Oh, yeah.
Publicly in front of the world and outed as a fucking pedophile and a sex trafficker and a complete derelict and pervert.
Yeah.
Every one of these people, from Brad Karp to a Canadian named Peter Attia. And I want to talk about him because this is touching Canada now. If you remember back when Thomas Massey read the list of people, he kept some names quiet. If you remember that, he launched Jess Staley that one day. Yeah. And then he kind of named a couple people, including a Canadian billionaire, right? And Canadian influencer. What's deeper than that? Peter Nygard is currently waiting to be sentenced for sex assault, young girls, women who knew Jeffrey Epstein, partied with Jeffrey Epstein. Not a lot of people know that because Peter Nygard is a Canadian fashion icon from Winnipeg, Manitoba, who is decrepit and 83, and he's going to fucking die, right? He just is. But this touched Canada in a way, and I want to point out a couple of names that I read over the past couple of days. And listen, there are a lot of people that will not say anything here in Canada about some of these Canadians that we're reading about right now because they're afraid. They're afraid of it touching their relationships. They're afraid of outing a possible foreign minister here in Canada or one of the biggest longevity / wellness quacks in the world, Peter Attia, who is Canadian and he also holds U.S. citizenship. But there are two names that appeared in the Epstein files, and I wrote about them. You can go to deanblundell.substack.com and read about it. And Peter Attia was one of them, and a gentleman named John Baird is the other. Now, keep in mind, different names, different circumstances.
Yeah.
Peter Attia's name is in the Epstein files, not once, not twice, 1,700 times.
Yeah.
Okay, 1,700 times. Nobody's been convicted of a crime. Just let me point that out there. Those 1,700 mentions are not a fucking accident, by the way.
No.
Especially when that proximity in those mentions occur after Epstein's conviction. They knew.
Yeah.
Peter Attia knew and still was corresponding with him with emails like this from Jeffrey Epstein. He says, "Please tell me you found that picture online." Epstein says, "Afraid not." And then Peter Attia says back to him, no idea what the picture is. Peter Attia says back to him, this is several years ago after his conviction. "You, the biggest problem with being friends with you, the life you lead is so outrageous, and yet I can't tell a soul." 1,700 emails like that. Another email from Peter Attia. Listen, I'm gonna say a bad word, and people are. Yeah, I'm prepping you for it. But this is from Peter Attia to Jeffrey Epstein. "Pussy is indeed low carb. Still awaiting results on gluten content, though." There's another email. There was another email. Then Peter Attia emails Jeffrey Epstein, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever spent time on Grand Cayman or any other Cayman Islands?" Epstein, "Nope." Attia says, There's nothing like Little St. James, I bet, Epstein's Island. He goes, 0. There are no other people there. And then Atia writes, I need to visit sometime. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
1,700 of these. And the more so 1,700, right? Now, Epstein liked to be around power. He liked to poison the well around power. And that's how he was able to, hide because, you get a picture with Epstein. You go to an Epstein party. You might not have done anything. You might have attended a meeting with him. And that's where we get the other name. And full transparency, I've met this man.
Mm-hmm.
His name's John Baird. He was Canada's foreign minister for some time under Stephen Harper. And he is now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this in Canada, a very senior advisor to none other than Donald Trump's Canadian Timu duplicate, Pierre Poilievre.
I thought he was also a advisor to the King of Saudi Arabia, or the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
I don't know.
He was a lobbyist for the Saudi Arabian government. So not surprising then that he's connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Not surprising then that he's connected.
I don't know if he's connected to him, but let me just go through this because listen, I have no problem cleaning up my backyard. My backyard is Canada.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I put out a tweet today that said something to the effect of, I owe nobody anything. Nobody pays me. I pay myself. I've got my own business. I'm completely unattached. No one can get me. So if I'm going to burn some people down, I'll burn people down. But I have nothing to burn John Baird down other than the fact that this meeting occurred after Epstein was convicted. Let me read you an email. This is from Camilla Rexton Monson. No idea who she is. Middle East Dinner and Independent Commission on Multilateralism is the subject. Hi, Jeff. So-and-so asked, I send you the attached concept on the Independent Commission on Multilateralism. This is for a meeting in Vancouver in 2014, by the way. Okay? These are the attendants. Here are the confirmed participation. You got Miro, his buddy Miro from Slovakia, who's heavily involved in the Epstein files, Terj, Borja, Gene Asselborn, and then we got a guy named Ehud Barak.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to the meeting with Epstein in Vancouver. Andrei Ilyanarov, Mahmoud Jabril. He's in Amir Sousa, the Attorney General of the American League. And one John Baird, the former minister, the foreign minister of Canada. Now, again, I've met John. Okay?
He has a reputation.
But this isn't guilt by passport.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. His name so far that I've read is only in there once. You could literally say, hey, this is just collateral damage, right? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But there are several names involved in that meeting that happened in Vancouver that Canada's foreign minister at the time actually fucking attended that were deeply involved in child sex trafficking and the abuse of women delivered to him, young girls delivered to them by one Jeffrey Epstein. And again,
was Jeffrey Epstein?
If these are the smartest fucking.
Did he go?
Oh yeah, it was his conference happening in Vancouver. And again, unless these people are fucking stupid and they don't read, these are some of the most fucking powerful people in the world. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know who Jeffrey Epstein is. They are aware of his conviction for sex trafficking and prostitution. And they are aware of the fact that that was a sweetheart deal. And they are also aware of the fact that the man that organized it, the man that went there with him, the man that put it together, has a predilection for fucking legitimate perversion when it comes to pedophilia. Yeah. They know it. They knew it. We all fucking knew it. And after his conviction date, come the fuck on. So these are two names, right? And there are several more that are yet to come.
There is more about Baird
to Canada.
That Baird has if I'm not mistaken, his term as foreign minister in Canada ended in a scandalous way because he was involved in
something to do in Israel where
in Saudi
he
Arabia
was pelted with eggs maybe Saudi Arabia.
Like
and he was
sex
accused
party in Saudi Arabia is what I heard.
Really?
So involving men, not because I think he's I don't know if he's out, but he appears to be gay. But he's that's his history. I think I might be speaking out of turn there, but I think that's the same Baird that I
don't know. I can't speak to that. I can speak to the fact that I've met him. Seemed like a nice dude, and shocked me when I saw his name in there.
A lot
Shocked
of
me.
this was going on in 2014. A lot of this, like Peter Thiel was organizing a conference as well in 2014, where he invited Jeffrey Epstein. You know, the amount of Peter Thiel mentions in the current Epstein files dump that they've given us is I think 1,800 or so emails. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of Peter Thiel. It's a lot of this. I mean, we sort of know who the main cast of characters are, but you know, you get the Rothschilds, you get the what's that other hugely wealthy family that's
Vanderbilts,
no, the other ones. I can't.
the Gettys,
Mm, it'll come to me
the
in a
Colonel
second.
Sanders family.
You know what? I have a whole chart here, which I'm busy putting together the most like
The
intense
Gretzky's.
network network of names here. But because I have so many in my head, I'm blanking out here. Um, Let me. I'll get back to the names in a second. But it's a lot of the same people. There's also royalty. There's a lot of royalty that shows up, especially Norwegian royalty. I don't know what the connection is with Norway yet. And then you get the Dershowitzes and the Ken Stars of the world, and you get this Peter, this consultant. What's his name? Peter's last name, the one you just mentioned, the healthcare guy, the health.
Oh, Peter Attia.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So he was also just recently hired by Barry Weiss to be on CBS News as part of her remaking of CBS
Shocking,
News.
isn't it?
She also recommended Alan Dershowitz as a possibility to be on CBS News to return it to its more credible, middle of the road way. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
that'll do
all
it.
connected. They're all connected, as Lev likes to say. They're
Strange.
all in the loop. They're all in the loop. So
Everybody's in the fucking loop.
Yeah.
Listen, Peter T, I'm talking to you right now, who, by the way, lost every gig, every single one of his endorsement deals, got pushed out of every business he was in, including Dave's Protein or something like that, some kind of fucked up protein bar. But what was the one job he kept? Guess what the one job he
I
kept
don't know, what
was?
is the one job he kept?
Oh, working for Barry Weiss at CBS.
Oh, I thought
He's still going to hang
I
in
thought
there.
he didn't get that.
No. She's like, yeah, we're keeping him. I'm not going to give in to the woke mob. He's a.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious? I mean,
Yeah,
she has no
Schmidt
shame,
took a
eh?
strip off her today.
She has no
she's got no
shame.
fucking shame. That's the fucking insult to intelligence for every single person that reads this and understands this and can put fucking a square peg in a square hole, right?
Yeah.
Is that Barry Weiss is trying to tell us that 1,700 emails with the world's worst pedophile talking about eating pussy and it's calorie free and talking about the exciting life and being part of Epstein and not being able to tell any stories about anything that happens.
CBS.
Oh my fucking god! Barry Weiss needs literally. Barry Weiss needs to be. Barry Weiss needs to have her fucking head examined. Someone needs to give her a fucking intervention. That woman is the fucking antichrist of media. The antichrist of media. She has no interest in journalism. She is a fucking gatekeeper. She is part of the crew, part of the ship, and that ship is fascist in nature, and she doesn't give a fuck. Barry Weiss doesn't give a shit about any of the young girls or women. No. And I'll tell you another thing, okay? And listen, I'm saying this knowing full well who I just sewered today from Canada, and I've got no fucking problem doing it. Anybody that works with anyone that had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein in any capacity whatsoever after he was fucking convicted, knowing full well who and what he was, should be, and for the rest of their fucking miserable lives, they should be persona non fucking grata. Yeah. That's
Elon Musk
where I'm
too,
at.
By the way.
Oh fuck!
And that guy keeps saying, "Hey, I never went." You had like voluminous conversations with Jeffrey Epstein. You may not have gone because you're scheduling conflicts, but pretending that you are somehow, morally objecting to it is complete bullshit. The number 3 story on the countdown is all about the end of another big institution of media, the Washington Post.
Remember when democracy dies in the dark? Well, guess what happened today?
They changed that, and then they killed the lights inside the Washington Post so they could kill democracy. Basically, Jeff Bezos has cut a third of the Washington Post. It's the most significant gutting of a major American newspaper since 2008. Except, this time the economy isn't collapsing. He is certainly not short of money. There's just no reason for him to fire 300 journalists Um, it's stunning that they're doing it. Suddenly, he's concerned about the profitability of this thing when he just took it on initially as a side gig, as a bit of charity that he was doing for
As a
society.
service to humanity.
Yeah,
Remember that?
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
and during 2016, he's
Saving
standing in front of the
democracy.
staff at
They were
a,
going
at
to
a
save
town hall. We
democracy.
need
Yeah,
to save democracy. And then when Trump wins, he puts out a thing. He goes, we're gonna redo how we save democracy, everybody. We're just gonna support America in all its capacities and the
Yeah.
president of the United States. And
But-
and you knew this would happen. Like I'll draw your attention to Hooker in Boots, the
Yeah.
Melania
yeah.
movie, which was seen by, you could have called it Puss in Boots, but that was too on the nose.
Yeah.
By the way.
Remember Kamala Harris? Remember the endorsement that they pulled from Kamala Harris in the middle of the election? That was all Bezos is doing. I mean, it's not. We know exactly what he's doing. This is not. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you continue. I think you want to roll.
He would suck the chrome off a government bumper for a grand.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is a fucking puke. He is everything that is wrong with humanity. Sure, you can say he's made all the money in the world and he's autonomously. Yeah, fucking Jeff Bezos has got the morality of a serial killer, and he smiles while he does it, right? And I want to point to Hooker and Boots. He gave the Trump crime family, including Melania, a $28 million check up front. Put $75 million into this movie, had several cameos in this movie, and the end result was what? I'll tell you what the end result was. A lie where Melania and the rest of her staff were like, it is biggest box office documentary ever. Nah, 22,000 people actually sat and watched that movie around the world. I did
how
the
many
math.
of them were paid to do it?
Well, here's the thing. We don't know. But 22,000 people physically went and saw that movie worldwide. 4 people in Canada, not one in England, and the rest might have been in the United States of America. It's called ticket laundering. And guess what happened the very next day after Jeff Bezos's Melania Hooker in Boots appeared in theaters to nobody, and they cooked it. They just ticket laundered it. Like the religious lobby, Trump and his friends just bought tickets online and was like, "Oh, it's a hit." No, it's not. It's garbage. It's shit. It's awful. It's awful. It's terrible.
He forced members of the military to go see it as well. They bought tickets for the military. I mean, poor guys. I mean, it's like
you guys go watch this. Like, please, just send me to war.
I signed up for war and protecting the Constitution.
You know what? Send me to Iran with no gun.
Melania
Please, just drop me off in the fucking desert. I'd rather that than go see Hooker and Boots. Please, for the love of God, will you do that? No, but the fascinating thing was the very next day after the launch of this Saturday. Guess who big dicks himself into Blue Origin to meet Bezos because he's getting a bunch of NASA grants and space grants worth billions? Guess who did? Pete Hegseth and Jeff Bezos standing there. That was what the fucking movie was for. It was to get access to government money for his fucking company. And that's all you need to know about Jeff Bezos. That's why he gassed 300 people from the Washington Post today. He doesn't give a fuck about democracy. He never did. Jeff Bezos only cares about him fucking self.
He absolutely only cares about himself. And this is the problem with what America's turning into. And we can see it day in and day out. And you might think, oh, well, it's just funny because he's paying Melania, whatever, $40 million. But it's happening everywhere. They're turning America into the most corrupt country in the world. This is how business is done in Russia. This might be how business is done in China. This is how business is done in autocracies. And they are just wrapping their arms around these people and saying, bring it on. And it's not going to be something we can reverse. Once this kind of culture takes place, once this kind of culture takes hold, it's really difficult to disentangle it. And that leads us to the number one story just coming up next, which is important. But first, let me tell you about Steve Bannon at number 2. Steve Bannon said out loud yesterday that we're going to have ICE surround polls come November. Same day as Trump declared that states are agents for the federal government on elections, he's now, the same time that he's allowed Tulsi Gabbard to personally attend an FBI raid, which is another story. You've got this on deanblundell.substack.com. It's a great story. Everyone should check it out because it's absolutely infuriating. As the same day as all of that is happening, as they're seizing 700 boxes of 2020 ballots and voter rolls, as the same day as all of that is happening, Steve effing Bannon is out there saying, yeah, we're going to send our ICE agents to surround voting stations, voting poll stations on election day to intimidate people. This is the country we're heading to in next November's elections.
Yeah, yeah, and then let's combine that with there she goes. Hey, it's okay, babe. It's okay. No one's there. Sorry, probably got an Amazon delivery. Hey, easy.
Speaking of Amazon,
yeah. Speaking of
you
Amazon,
still support them. You haven't quite
I
given up on
don't buy anything from Amazon, but someone in this house does. Let's go back to the Tulsi Gabbard thing because that'll lean into the Bannon thing. Okay,
and it's a really interesting story.
Yeah. So she was depending on what you read. Let's back it up even further. On the weekend, Tulsi Gabbard and some select FBI agents. Tulsi Gabbard, zero jurisdiction. She's the DNI, right? She's the director of national intelligence.
She's a Russian asset as well, by the way. I mean,
fuck yeah, big time. Yeah. And by the way, she's a member of some fucking weird cult in Hawaii. I don't know if you're aware of this cult, but this is fucking wild, where all of their values are anti-homosexual, anti-inclusive. All your money goes to this fucking whack job named Paul, who calls himself the second coming of the Bhagavad Gita. It's fucking bizarre. She's in a cult, like a full-on fucked up Hawaiian cult. Her mom and dad were in the cult. She's in the cult. But that cult, and if you know anything about cult members, they believe fucking anything. Like, look at the evangelical Christian nationalists. They're like, we're going to heaven if we do this. We're like, you're fucked. Same thing with the, Muslim extremists. We get 72 versions if we did. You're fucked.
Yeah.
So cults being cults and knowing what they are, Donald Trump has surrounded himself with evangelical cult members and, of course, a Hawaiian cult member in Tulsi Gabbard, who has been paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars by Russia, by Putin, and by Syria, by the way. She was a lobbyist and a friend of the Assad regime who really wanted Assad to stay in power. He's a great guy. Fast forward, she's now the DNI. She shows up to Fulton County offices. These are state-run offices, secure locations, busts in and steals a whole bunch of voter rolls. Now, if you remember correctly, about 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump and the DHS, including what's her nuts, Christy Noem, said, "Hey, listen, the violence in Minnesota can stop if you give us your voter rolls.
Yeah,
just hand us those voter rolls." Just she literally, fucking Pam Bondi wrote a letter to that effect. Yeah, we'll stop with this. Just give us your voter rolls, right? They didn't fucking do anything to Georgia because it's a blue state or a red state for all intents and purposes. They just went in and took all the shit. 2 months ago, unbeknownst to everybody else, Tulsi Gabbard did the same thing in Puerto Rico, but she got her hands on some of these voting machines and took them in to have them investigated, recalibrated, and said she found serious irregularities. And then she said the same thing in Fulton County, serious irregularities. No word on what those serious irregularities are.
Why is she
None.
there? She's
because
the director of national intelligence. That means outward focus. That doesn't mean inward focus.
Because she is a fucking Trump and Putin operative, and they are so desperate to cook 2026. So desperate to do it. She was sent by Trump, according to her. Okay, now we're going to play name, blame, carousel because someone's going under the fucking bus. She now says she was ordered to be there for this raid at the Fulton County voter roll office by Donald Trump. Interesting. When asked about that, Donald Trump yesterday said, I didn't order it. Pam Bondi told her to do it.
Yeah, he didn't know anything about it. Yesterday he said he didn't know anything about it. Today he said Pam Bondi told her to do it, I think. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And then, here's the great part. Pam Bondi can't be reached for comment. Like she's like, it's like this circular fucking blame
she was there
game
at the prayer breakfast today and was actually staying out of the limelight. She wouldn't even. So the president starts talking about her, and he's like, "Oh, she's keeping a low profile today. I see she's keeping a low profile." Of course, she's. I mean, can you imagine having that woman's job right now, covering up for this crazy pedophile, rapist, potential murderer?
Her. She agreed to it. You know what? I got no sympathy for any of these stupid fucks. None, zero. I hope they all burn and swing. That's the truth. Like at this point, I hope they all burn and swing.
Is next on the what's that expression we used to have in the 2016 and next in the canon, because How is this woman in charge of America's intelligence services when she's working directly for the Russians? I mean, when she's going in, breaking the law, this is illegal for her to be going in
The
on anything
idea.
like this. If she's a CIA person, if she's an intelligence person, she's got other things to worry about than the Fulton County voter rolls. That should be somebody else's business. But of course,
Yeah.
they need a Russian agent to go and do this because they need it to be skewed towards Russia, to be skewed towards Trump, and that is why they're doing it this way. Which leads us to the number one story. Go ahead.
Well, hang on. Let me
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
just
yeah.
put a pin in that. It all culminated in an interview last night that Trump did with some dude with great hair. I fucking no idea who he did. Where he's like, "Pretty soon you're going to find out what happened in Georgia, and we'll find out who's right." That was the entire point. It's to create a sim and a perception. Two things, right? That he won in 2020. He's going to invent. I said this 2 weeks ago when he said he was going to start going after people like this. He's going to invent a narrative. That narrative is going to be, we found these things. He's going to show some bullshit fucking graphic like he did with Abrego Garcia, photoshopping fucking kill ice on
Yeah.
Abrego Garcia's hands, right? That's what he's going to do. They're going to cook this up. They're going to pretend so that he can fucking stand tall and go, see, I told you it was stolen in 2020. And that means we cannot trust anybody to count these votes other than Republicans, or we can't have fucking elections. Now, I go back to something Lev Parnas said yesterday in our Substack. He said, this is what Putin does. Putin is famous for a quote. That quote is, doesn't matter who votes, matters who counts.
That is
So
the
there you
quote.
go.
And they said that quote apparently in I don't know where Lev gets that information, because I think that quote came in Alaska. I had not seen it before, but he mentioned it yesterday to you. I'm like, really? That's what Putin said in Alaska? That's crazy. I think your delivery guy's here.
No
Quickly,
idea.
I will tell you that the number one story then is, and you can go get that if you want.
Yeah. Hang on. Just vamp for a second.
I'll vamp for a bit. While Dean does that, I can tell you all to go and check out his incredible Substack, deanblundell.substack.com. Don't tell him I told you this, but it's got a 30% discount this month, I think to the end of the month. It's worth your time. It really is worth your time. So check it out. Join his Substack. It's full of the best reads ever. And if you're interested in this Tulsi Gabbard story, it breaks it down. Dean breaks it down in a very original, authentic way, and it's all happening on the on his Substack right now. Now, on the number one story is involving the vice president, who was interviewed yesterday with Megyn Kelly, who's all sorts of crazy these days, and he admitted, in his exact words, that there's a new world order. And Trump is willing to shake up some old alliance structures like NATO. He said it like it's a feature. Here's what he had to say yesterday with Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
And there's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order. I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order in trade. There's a new world order in globalization and the way that we invest in our economy versus, foreign supply chains. There's a new world order, and that the president is willing to shake up some old alliance structures. I mean, NATO, I think, is much different because of the president's leadership than it was 10 years ago. It was sort of coasting. It was effectively a protectorate of the United States of America. Obviously, you saw what happened in Venezuela. So, yeah, the president is putting a stamp on world history, but fundamentally in an America First way.
Fundamentally in an American First way. He had to throw that in at the end there, because really what he's doing is saying, yeah, we're doing exactly what Russia wants us to do. We're basically gutting the American democracy, gutting the American economy. We're busy turning the world into a fiefdom for people who have money and power, and we're busy destroying any sort of rights that humans have had for the last 80 years. 72% of the world is now living under autocratic rule, according to a new study that came out today. 72%, and America is considered an autocracy.
Shocker, right? Everybody's surprised at that. Some guy that pretended he was bisexual in college and then went fully gay when he was getting his master's, and then decided to change his name 3 times and go away after calling Trump the Hitler of America and awful for America, and the Antichrist, is now embracing a new world order, brought in by. Listen, this new world order that's being forged, and there is a new world order being forged, is not being forged by Donald Trump. It's not.
No.
The New World Order is being forged by Canada, the EU, and coalition of the willing. Donald Trump is trying to tell everybody that he's developing a new world order. He's not. He's just pulled himself out of every responsibility that America stood for. He's just destroying American values and destroying the American empire. They're economy in the United States is toast. They have never had less people to trade with. Nobody trusts the United States of America. He is the laughing stock, and JD Vance is his ball licker. Okay, he is his diaper boy. He carries Trump's mail because Trump cannot actually physically show up to do the job of being president, and he certainly can't fucking talk his way out of it anymore because he's so gone. And he just says the quiet parts out loud. What JD Vance said there, to my friend Zev Shalev's point, greater point, is like, we've switched teams. We're not interested in old relationships, freedom, and democracy anymore. That is JD Vance saying this. Let me translate. Fuck democracy. We're in it for the elites and the kakistocracy, and we're going to fucking cash in, and we're going to work with the world's worst people who have the exact same desire to do the exact same thing that we do. We need everything to go our way. Fuck everybody else. Not interested in Canada, not interested in trade, not interested in democracy. When he mentioned trade there, Donald Trump has destroyed every trade alliance that the United States has ever had. Destroyed it. So when he says he's going a new direction, that direction is done. That direction is over. There is no direction. It's a fucking it's a kaleidoscope of bullshit. It's just his stupid, dementia-laden, fucking rapist, felon, pedophile boss having a whim on Truth Social and everybody going, yes, sir, no, sir, we'll do whatever you want, sir. Is there a bigger coward? Is there a bigger cosplayer? Is there a bigger LARPer? Is there a bigger fucking loser in the Trump regime not named Trump other than JD Vance right now?
Yeah. And
he has this quiet demeanor and he says things like that and he expects you to fucking not read into any of his comments. He expects people to go, oh yeah, New World Order, that's great. Look, read the tea leaves, people. Look at your fucking economy. Look at your GDP. Look at manufacturing. Look at tariffs. Look at the fucking quality of life. Look at the execution of citizens in your fucking streets. If that's the New World Order, congratulations, JD Vance. It's shit. And that New World Order just means you're a dictator. Just means that your country is a fascist shithole.
And he wants
That's what
to,
it means.
He's going to be the next one, right? I mean, he's already positioned himself with he's going to be his new wife, I guess. What's her name? Kirk.
Erica Kirk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see how that develops. I guess he's now having a baby and whatever else is going on in his personal life.
Erica Kirk's pregnant?
No.
Or is he having a baby?
Usha is of Usha, whatever name is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't focus on that kind of stuff, but it's not very family values. This guy is about as far away from family values as you can place anybody, and how the GOP could be embracing him as their next leader is stunning. But it's not really surprising considering their current leader is a guy who raped, possibly murdered, and hung out with a pedophile for 15 years of his life and arranged sex parties where they raped girls all the time. I mean, is it that surprising that Vance has got no moral fiber? Not really, because Trump is so morally bankrupt. And so is America's Republican Party. The GOP has no soul left of which to speak of. It is no longer a religious right party. It can't even call itself Christian. They are just dictators who want to steal everything from everybody else and keep it for themselves. And they don't give a shit about anything else at all. That is where this party is going. And just today, we went from, Savannah Guthrie. We're not even believing this ridiculous narrative that's out there because we can't trust a word that the president says. And then on top of that, we find out about all these Epstein connections and he's raping and he's pillaging. And it just gets worse and worse as his Russian asset is stealing voters' rolls from Fulton County as the head of the intelligence directorate. And then you've got Steve Bannon threatening ICE agents to around every polling booth in America. And then you got Vance saying, yeah, this is the New World Order. Well, what is that New World Order? Just that he is the dictator. That is the world order, and nobody else has any rights in this New World Order of theirs.
Of course you don't. And that's what he's saying. He's saying we've forged all these partnerships. He's forged none. I'll point out the Board of Peace is just filled with failed petrostates and dictators. That's what he's got left. That's his New World Order. Fuck Cambodia.
Yeah.
Azerbaijan
They're
get
just
get Trump to say that.
mobsters.
But,
They're just mobsters.
fuck did North Korea. I mean, dude, guys, ladies and gentlemen of the United States, every single word that comes out of JD Vance, John David Vance, John David Johnson, fucking Flippy the Love Nut, whatever he wants to call himself. If he's a furry, it doesn't matter to me. If he's bisexual, doesn't matter to me. He's a fucking vessel for fucking terrible things. And he's just, and I go back to this all the time. They are all guilty of protecting pedophiles. They are all guilty of stumping for personal gain for violent, murderous pedophiles and rapists and thieves and international criminals just so they can get their fucking own. JD Vance, when this is over, needs to swing with the rest of them, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
All of them.
All tied to Peter Thiel, by the way. He is Peter Thiel's guy. How many times is Peter Thiel in the Epstein files? About 1,800 times. That is the Five Stack today. Thank you for being here. Dean, another fascinating show with you. Everyone should check out your Substack. I told them while you were letting your delivery guy in that they should absolutely take advantage of your 30% off that you have this month at deanblundell.substack.com. And I was singing your praises about the great Tulsi Gabbard reporting that you've done and all the other great stories that you have on the deanblundell.substack.com. So if you haven't subscribed yet, although most of you probably have, do it today. Dean's worth every cent, and make sure it's a paid subscription, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves it.
Yeah, gets it to the top of the algorithm, and you keep me in business, and you keep my mouth humming. That's what you do. You keep all this stuff coming. Every time I get a paid subscription, I'm like, here we can go again. But more importantly, share this content. Share this if you found this interesting. And same to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm literally watching this at narrative.org, where the truth lives. There is nobody that is doing better reporting when it comes to the financial crimes and when it comes to the humanity involved in the Epstein files and what we're seeing. There's nobody who's been more dogged about it. And if you don't mind, I'm going to sing your praises for a second. I met this man, Zev Shalev, at a time when we were both like, fuck it. Why even bother anymore? You want to go get a job at UPS? I'll go get a job at UPS. We'll get the brown shirts. We'll get the brown shorts. We'll get the black Skechers, and we'll just say, "Package, sir." Like, it's so much easier than doing this stuff. And over the past, I would say 5 or 6 months, we started this like 10 months ago. Yeah. We have a few thousand people watching this, and it's because of the dogged determination of that man right there who would not leave me alone. And he's the dogged determination of that man who wouldn't leave Epstein's crimes alone, no matter how many times Epstein's crew, Trump's crew, Musk's crew tried to fuck Zev Shalev over. He kept going and kept going and kept going. If you get a chance to go and subscribe to narrative.org, specifically his Greatest Heist series, not only are you going to be informed about why we're here, you're also going to get conversations you can't get anywhere else that he leads, specifically the Epstein special about the murdered and buried girls that you focused on yesterday with the panel of Ellie Leonard, Wajahat Ali, Kate Justice, my boy Lev Parnas. And not only did you hold that conversation, you led that conversation, and you know more about this subject than anybody. So everybody get nice and close to Zev Shalev, hit that gray chyron at the top, give him a paid subscription, and get this man's work in front of as many people as humanly possible. You are a guiding light in this space, and I'm grateful to call you my friend. And you, everybody, you need more of him in your life. So go to narrative.org and subscribe today.
That is very nice of you to say. It makes me blush every time someone talks about me, but thank you very much, Dean. That's very nice. And thank you for your support at home for both of us. It's been a phenomenal ride, and thank you for being here today. We really, really appreciate everyone's time, and sometimes we're a little late, and I get that everyone gets a little frustrated. We're doing our best, but it's it's the best we can do sometimes, and we really try to get the show on the air. But I apologize for being a little late today to all of those people who schedule their day around you. We know how important your time is, and we don't take it for granted. So thank you for being here, and thank you, Dean, and we'll see you tomorrow at 3:00 with another Five Stack. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, guys.